you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. Sorry for the wait. Um, we have a couple special guests tonight, and I'm going to bring them up in just a second. Not all here yet. I was trying to wait a little bit. Um, but anyways, we have a lot to talk about. I am so excited to talk to you guys about all of the things that went down today at Lori Vallow's sentencing. I cannot believe it. It's not over yet, but it's a huge step. I mean, I was thinking before the live started, I still remember exactly where I was sitting when I found out that they had found the kids in Chad's yard. I will never forget that. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. But let me take a second to say hello to you guys. Let's see. Hey, Punksy. Hey, A. Aguilar. Hey, Nana. Hey, Carol freaking Claus. Mel. Thank you, Inspector Gadget. Wait till you see the others. Hey, B Crumbs. Rena, good to see you. Hey, Spicy Sugar. Did you do something with your hair? Hey, K-Brace. Inspector Gadget. Jane Doe. West Virginia Mama. Thomas. Tony. Kate, C-Wise. Becky. I think I said hi to you, B Crumbs. I start to run all together, and I start doing it to some people twice. Hey, Mystic. Hey, Deb. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, Selma. Did you guys watch today? Oh, Riddler, thank you. Oh, that was very sweet, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. Hey, KPM, True Crime Crazy. Good to see you. Hey, Amber. Hey, Chris. Alibi. Melissa, Butterfly Angel, Iowa Dog Squad Mom. So many wonderful people here. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, Lori. Hey, Becky. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up Mrs. Crime Curious, and let me get the comments off the screen. Hold on. And Jen Lou. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, Jules. Hey, Ava. Hey, Katie. How are you guys?
Hey, guys. Good. How are you?
Good. Excited to talk about all of this, and thank you guys for being here. Excited that you're joining me for it.
Oh yeah, it's the chat Trinity.
The chat Trinity.
Oh, it won't let me do it because you don't have headlines turned on, Allie. Mine was oh no, there it is. The Melanies are next.
Hey, Amber. Hey, Stephanie. Mel says Jen is fancy AF.
That's right.
Jesus knows Lori. So I grabbed a bunch of things for you guys to react to. I know tomorrow night Jen to roast Lori and her lawyer, and I cannot wait for that. But we are going to kind of discuss what she said and some other things, and I'll just show you, and then you guys, give me your thoughts. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I just can't believe it. For a second today, y'all, the judge had me angry. I was thinking I did not know where he was going with his speech. When he started talking her up a little bit and stuff like that. And now I understand he was trying to be fair, right? And look at it as a whole, as being fair to both sides. But for a moment there, I was like, oh my God, you better just, did y'all feel that way at all?
Well, for me, no. Because I understood what he was doing from the beginning. Like he was explaining to Lori how he arrived at the decision that he was going to be arriving at. It just took him a long time to get there. Like he gave the most Miss America, better than even me. Because you know me, I'd be giving a whole Miss America answer when really a yes or a no would suffice. But so I got what he was doing. He wanted Lori to know why she was getting the sentence that she was going to be getting.
Right.
I guess I got a little bit nervous, but I think that's just because when her attorney was talking about the age that she would be when she was up for parole that she maybe wouldn't get, I was thinking, well, yeah, they probably wouldn't give her parole. Well, and she is going to be pretty old. So then when I heard him talking, then I started getting nervous because of that little thought that I had. And I mean, I want her to be in prison forever with no possibility of parole. But I heard him when he said the age she was going to be, and maybe she could help people. And I didn't care about giving her hope because she ruined the lives of so many. I mean, this is probably the most collateral damage I've seen in a case for a long time, and God
Oh,
knows
yeah. Mm-hmm.
we've seen a lot of collateral damage. So then when the judge started talking that way, I was like, no, 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 I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. And then it came back around. But then as soon as she opened her mouth, it just,
Oh,
it wiped out everything that her attorney had even said. Okay. I mean, she's absolutely delusional, and that woman's not going to help anyone. But she was very well spoken. She presented, as Larry Woodcock called it, the bucket of shit. She presented the bucket of shit very well. If you didn't know everything that was happening. I mean, if she weren't at some murder trial, if she was talking to you at some preparing a people meeting and you drink the Kool-Aid, you'd probably fall for it, Melanie.
yeah. Oh my God, that's a good
Both of
point.
the Melanies.
Yeah, Melanie's.
I couldn't, I did not think she was going to speak when they were like, yes, go ahead. I was like, holy shit, I cannot believe this. I really was just completely shocked.
I had to go for a cigarette. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, oh yeah. Well, and
Oh
I
my,
was waiting for and it wasn't that. She was speaking like an actual adult woman,
right.
a
That's
delusional adult woman, but
very delusional. Friends with Tammy, which we'll get into all of that. I want to play some of it and have you like hear your guys' thoughts. But I want to show you a few pictures and stuff first. But yeah, friends with Tammy. And then the other part that just had me like, are you freaking serious? Was that there was no murders in this case. It's
Okay,
like,
can I just say, yeah, that was fucking poppycock. Can I just say this though? Didn't I say when the trial was going on that Lori is still a believer in Chad's bullshit ass ripoff of Supernatural season 2 cult bullshit? Did I
yeah,
not say that she thinks of herself as a martyr? Did I not
yeah.
say that? I did say that. And what was her speech today?
The
yeah.
exact, yes, exactly. Which remember we talked about like her uncle saying that her mom talked to her a few months ago and she was still in her delusion or whatever. So I kind of wasn't surprised, but I kind of still was. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Carol freaking Claus. Thank you, Riddler. Thank you guys for gifting. Appreciate that so much. And thank you, B Crumbs, for letting me know. I had just gotten my phone out, so I caught it. Thank you guys. Okay, so here, let's look at a couple of these pictures I saved, and then we'll get into what she said and some of that. So, Pretty Lies and Alibis, Gigi was there, and she said at one point, Tammy Daybell's sister Samantha to me says, "I don't know who she was talking to, but she wasn't talking to my sister." And I was like, damn, good. Tell him. Because, man, that is such an insult to me. I'm sorry, but really? Tammy is a dear friend and they're all so happy in heaven and doing so well. Are you serious, lady?
Right.
Yeah.
Excuse me, bitch. Dear friends of mine, don't bang my husband while we're still married and then have me
Yeah.
unalived. Okay.
Yeah.
That's like, that is a friendship don't.
Yeah, I had to go back and listen to what words she actually used, and I know at one point she said eternal friend, and then
Yes.
after that she said wonderful friend. Like wonderful
Yes.
friends don't, off each other. So
I mean,
Ugh.
listen, it's against everything in girl code to bang another chick's guy. That's just facts. Whether they're married, whether they got papers on each other or not. It is against girl code. Like Allie, if you banged my man, I'm sorry, sweetie. As much as I love you, it'd be a fucking deal breaker. The friendship door would be closed. You too, Jen.
Well, let
duly
me tell you,
noted.
I am just not, I would absolutely never do that. I'm not, I hate girls that do that, but I completely agree with you. You don't, sorry, lady. You are just completely delusional. Um, okay, let me see. Let's go to the next one. This was after Kay's statement, um, which was sweet. I mean, my God, Kay and Larry have been like the biggest champions through this. And if you cannot feel the love from these humans, like I can physically feel. And by the way, today I watched over, and Jen was there. I don't know where you watch Crime
Mm-hmm.
Curious, in Krisha's difficult research. That is Kay's daughter. She does an excellent job, and I just really encourage anybody here that wants to learn more about this to go over there and have a listen, because like Jen had said previously, she does bring life to these victims. She shows you another side of them. Even today she was showing like some pictures that she had gotten from Lori's house, and a couple of them were school pictures, and she's like, none of these are missing. Lori wasn't giving out school pictures. Like, these were pictures I hadn't seen before. So yeah,
She does a really good job at showing you who Charles, JJ, and Tylee were before they were this, and how their family unit was. Because you have to remember, as Kresha is Kay and Larry's daughter, and Charles was is her uncle, and so that would make Lori her aunt. And they did do a lot of family functions together, and
Yeah.
that was one thing that Kay talked about a lot in her victim impact statement, and what I thought was remarkable about the family unit is that Tylee was always part of they considered Tylee part of the family. You know how people will give lip service to bonus children. They'll be like, oh yeah, we love them just the same. Right. But,
Yeah.
but then they don't like really include them or talk about them the way that Kay spoke about Tylee. Is that they were all in with Lori's children, period, when she became part of Charles's life.
I agree with you. Jules, actually, thank you, Jules, so much. She says, with all due respect, Kay was not nice to Tylee in her statement. Tammy's aunt was much more respectful. See, I didn't think that way, Jules. I mean, I respectfully disagree, not in a rude way at all, but that never crossed my mind. And I do recall her talking about like Tylee becoming her niece, and this little baby that was her new niece or whatever. I can't remember how she said it, but
yeah, like they were she talked about a story about getting they were out somewhere, and it was just a bunch of horses, like toys or something, and she wanted to get a unicorn for Tylee because it was such a girly thing, and she was all the time surrounded by boys. And so to me, I thought, I didn't get that person, but I mean, I mean, everybody's perspective is different, so I can't argue with you if that's what you took away from it. I just, maybe I'll go back and listen.
Yeah. And thank you again, Jules. I enjoy Annie as well. It's been a bit since I've caught hers, but I do enjoy her as well. But I need to go catch up on her most recent content for sure.
I thought they were all nice. Like when I say the family, I mean, Tammy's family. I thought they all came across genuine, hurt, and still sort of in shock as to why all of this even happened. Do you know what I mean? Like you can tell that they are still shook over it. They're still in shock. There's not been any healing. I'm going to go back and listen, Jules J, because I didn't catch that, but that doesn't, I'm curious about that now, and I kind of want to listen again.
Yeah.
And you don't got to love me, Jules J.
Hey, Melissa Jade. Good to see you.
I didn't really like how careful they had to be. It seemed like all of the actual, victim impact statements. It always bothers me when there's an objection during something like that.
Oh my God.
It just it irks me.
Okay, KPM, to answer you, I do not know. I have never seen that before. The only thing that I've ever seen a judge do is like in when it came time for victim impact statements in Colorado versus Leticia Stout, right? The only thing the judge said to them was that he wanted their statements directed towards him. He did not want them to directly address Leticia. That's the only time. That's the only thing that I've ever seen. I've never seen people have to petition to speak at a victim impact statement time. Usually there is a victim's advocate. They all coordinate that. I've never seen anything. I've never even seen a dadgum objection in the middle of a victim impact statement, let alone 3.
Oh my God, that made me so angry. I think that was so disrespectful. I'm sorry, she's already been found guilty. The judge surely already has made his decision. I think that probably he was still taking note of what was being said, but he gave it a couple months for a reason, right? I believe he probably had his decision in mind. I wonder though, do you guys think that her speaking would have influenced his decision?
No, but I'll tell you what might have influenced his decision, and maybe would have influenced it a different way, but it did have influence on his decision ultimately, was the fact that she refused any type of evaluation for mental health. She didn't want to participate in that at all. And that did have an impact, because you can't weigh evidence that you don't have. And it's not that the evidence isn't there, meaning she was evaluated and everybody's like, nah, she's just a bitch, right? But she refused to participate in it, which on the one hand, I can kind of see, because she's got Arizona coming up, and Arizona's not going to play with her, not Maricopa County.
Well, I can't wait for that. I mean, there's a lot left. This is not the end. It's a huge step, like on the way to the end. But look at this.
There's still Chad, and then there's still Arizona to go too.
Yeah, and I hope there's more charges to come. But
in what order? So is it going to be Chad, then Arizona? Or do we know?
I don't know. Well, Chad's April 2024. I don't think they just recently unsealed the probable cause for Lori in Arizona, right? So I would imagine it's going to be a minute for Arizona for Lori, because Arizona was completely on hold until this is all the way cleared up. And Arizona's not going to be like, oh, well, we'll wait till you're done appealing. No, they're going to be like, now come on. Your trial is over. You've been sentenced. Come on. They're going to be starting to make arrangements.
And Chad's is in April, right?
Yeah,
Lori
2024.
Are happy and busy in heaven. We're going to listen to some of that, but I want to keep showing. Do you guys think this is her today? She has aged so much in the last couple of years. It's truly shocking.
It's the evil coming out. See, I believe when people who do things like this that have external beauty, when you do something this evil, then it just starts to come out through your pores, which we're seeing it now. This is the evil coming out in your pores. I bet she regrets tattooing them eyebrows on, though.
Kay said last night she can't wait until she goes to Arizona, because it's a much bigger and harder jail than what she's used to, and she will not have a good time. Jamie says the DA said today she will be in Arizona by the end of the year.
Maricopa County is the same county where, oh gosh, I never say his name right, and I should be able to pronounce it. Joe Arapaho, the sheriff out there that has him in the tents and stuff. That's his jails. That's jail, not prison.
Okay. Arizona messed up.
She'll be a guest the way Jody in the same area that Jody Arias was a guest while she was waiting.
Ava said, oh, that's interesting. Ava said, I'm not saying shit because I'm approaching her age and feel it might catch up with me.
Don't, Ava, I've considered that. I've considered all the shit that I've talked about, her hot Cheeto dust lipstick and blush and all that stuff. But then I realized that is evil coming out in her. She's aged because I think what it is truly is that she was able to put on this facade about being a decent human being, not a perfect human being, because I don't think people, this is just obvious. Nobody is perfect, obviously, duh. But her whole everything was a facade. She is to her core at a cellular level an evil human being. Period.
Yep.
If you take when you take the life of your own children, whether they are your own children by blood or by choice, it doesn't matter. They're still your children. It's a commitment that you make. And when you break that commitment and you take their lives, that's evil. I'm usually not this like, but there's a people who harm children, especially their own, are just a different breed, and they bring out the emotion in me.
Well, yeah, me too. It just makes you angry. Like looking at her smiling like that. It's like, what do you have to smile about today, lady? Get the smile off your face. Like, it just makes me angry seeing her happy. I don't know why. I know that sounds like, but truly.
Well, it is frustrating. I mean, the whole thing felt like it was set up for the protection and well-being of Lori. I mean,
yes.
People had to be careful what they said. People are in different rooms. She didn't even have to look at them when they were speaking, and her attorney was all over them basically. And I don't know. It's supposed to be about the victims, but instead it just seemed like it was her time to shine. And she, stood up and gave that damn speech. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that she spoke. I mean, I needed to hear that. Right. I mean, the absurdity and the lack of remorse was off the damn charts. And I needed to hear that because for a second I started to, I don't know. I didn't feel sorry for her. I don't know. Maybe I just had a moment of weakness. I mean, it was all internal. It's not like it matters, but for a second I did kind of feel sorry for her. And then she snapped me right out of that with her little bucket of shit speech.
Oh my God.
There was, what?
Go ahead, Jen.
No, Allie, I interrupted you. You go.
Okay. Well, my delay, I should put my little thing under my name. Sorry for the delay, because I know there is one I can.
Here lies Allie. She's delayed.
But I was just going to say the court has really pandered to her like vanity, in my opinion, because that's the whole reason the cameras were taken out. Lori was uncomfortable. They were zooming in on her face, talking about her facial expressions, talking about her makeup. The lawyer thought it was so unfair. I mean, it's from the beginning that they've kind of done that. So I agree.
Well, be mad, Mr. Archibald, and I can't even remember the other one's name, but y'all stay mad. Yes, I did crack jokes about her hot Cheeto dust lipstick. Show did. And what? They were funny and true. I don't feel bad. I did feel for 1 second. There was a time during the victim impact statements when the families were talking about how their lives were before all of this. And for a minute, it made me feel sad for what could have and should have been. But because of Lori and Chad's actions, both of them, allegedly for Chad, but for real, Chad too. For just 1 second, I thought how far she has fallen, and for once, just for a second, was like, but then the minute she opened her mouth, I was like, snapped right back out of it. And like, nope, you're a bitch. The end. You suck.
Exactly.
All right, let me see. Sorry, I was chewing on a gummy, actually. Okay, so when Larry Woodcock was asked, what did you think of Lori's statement? Larry responded, forgive me, but that was a bucket of shit, and she was not friends with Tammy. Then Gigi says, Lori looked to be crying as she was let out, tissue in hand, which, she's
crying for her. That's the part I felt that was the most, yes, her speech was bullshit. But the crying that she did was for herself. It was never for her children, Charles, Tammy, anybody else that she impacted doing what she did. It was only for herself. Again, she's the martyr. And I have no
Right,
patience for that.
she moved herself to tears because she's such a good, uh, a wonderful human that, has to be here to do good on earth, even though she would rather be in heaven.
Right. Like she,
And
that part got to me too, when she told her, near death experience, and that she didn't, like, it was so selfless of her to go back to her body. Girl, goodbye.
Yeah.
I bet
Goodbye.
she wanted to talk about her husband.
Interesting, she didn't get any visits from Alex, who was her personal hitman during his time on Earth.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And why paralegal? I guess the friendship door is closed for Alex.
Another person who was there reporting said Lori is smiling as Kay reflects on memories of JJ and Tylee. How dare she? See, I could not see her face. It was too blurry for me to tell really anything.
I think if we were to watch an Law and Crime, when they're hearing footage, because they are streaming, they're getting the same pool, but they adjust the Zoom windows, and so I'm sure they clean. We'll have to. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I have to go look, because I stayed over on difficult research with Kresha, because I just wanted to. I wanted to show support
Agreed.
to her and to the family. And if there was a way for me to have shown support to Tammy's family, I would have done that too. It's just, I don't know how to. So,
well, she had a good point. Kresha was like, if you're trying to support the families, why are you, like, if you're streaming it, you'd think you'd go watch it with the family. You know what I mean? And that would, like, that's
why I
agree
didn't.
with that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Kresha said a couple of things today about, because she is in a very unique position. And this is why I think it's important for people to check out her channel. Okay. It is one thing for a victim of crime, right, to report true crime. It is another thing for a victim of crime to report on their own, on a crime that they're the victim of, a crime that happened to them, right? And it gives her a unique perspective. And she said a couple of things today during her live stream about true crime and the way that it's reported, that just really hit home with me. And I've been thinking about it all day since the live. She just, but I'm not going to tell you what she said. I want y'all to go listen.
Yeah, definitely. I just dropped the link. You guys go check it out. Now, Jules, I agree with you. Her mentioning Tylee and Joe and all that stuff, when there's no evidence of that, and there's, even the people that were working with, like, for the state doing some of the visits and stuff have come forward saying that they don't believe that was true. So it is a shame that she has to take her little opportunity to bash Joe more. I don't like that. But that's just me.
But yeah, I agree with you, Jules and Allie. She bashed him while making herself the hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to be able to do some mental gymnastics. You have to have some really messed up thinking to be able to do something like that.
Look, Larry walks out of the court, stops on the steps to sing the lyrics, turn out the lights, the party's over. Oh my God, I love them so much. Like, they just, they steal your heart, man. If you don't feel, when you're watching them, if you don't feel, their emotions. Now, I don't know if you guys saw my community post today, but many people don't see the community tab. And before we watch some of what she said, I wanted to show you guys. So these are some of Tylee's posts to her mom. This one says, emergency mother. Now, this person on Twitter, by the way, was sharing these and saying never, like she had a thing under each one that said, never forget how much this baby loved her mama. And I want to just read to you a couple of these captions really quickly. So she says, emergency mother appreciation post. This is a slightly random but much needed thank you to my mom for always being there and helping me so much. She's the greatest little mommy in the world. Happy birthday to my mom. My mom is superior to yours, so don't even try. She's talented, beautiful, smart, and caring. Love you from your favorite child. Then we have, my love for my mom grows every day. She is truly the best person for the job. Through everything we have been through as a family and as individuals, her faith just gets stronger. She's the best example of how I want to be as a mother someday. And then we have, I won the lottery with this one as my mom. Hashtag happy birthday. And that is just infuriating.
Ugh. And now I have to go back outside.
I
For another
feel
cigarette.
like
Be with you, Wes.
I think what makes it all the more heartbreaking is obviously we all know how the story ends, right? It doesn't have a happy ending. But then to have sat through that trial like we did and listen to the text messages from Lori to Melanie BP and to Chad, or as I call him, Chode, because I think Chad and Toad together, I know it means something else too, which also works. But anyway,
It's not wrong.
to hear that, to hear the way that she speaks about Tylee and the way that Tylee speaks about her so lovingly and really just wants her mother's approval is added heartbreak, because nobody really did see this coming. Everybody, by all accounts, says that Lori was a good mother. And I think that's what's so heartbreaking about this as well, because you could hear it in that phone call between her and Colby when he's just like, basically, WTF, Mom? I mean, seriously, what the hell is wrong with you? What got into you? And she's just gaslighting the hell out of him the entire time. You weren't there. You don't know what happened. I can't wait for the day that Melanie Gibb is locked up so we can hear her jail phone calls, and they're going to be like this. You know, you guys, it's actually, I didn't believe. I told you guys I didn't believe. You know, she eats the microphone. I can't stand her. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Shay. She is sick. Well, let me just play it. We'll stop along the way and talk about it some. Like I said, Jen is going to roast it tomorrow, but this is more for just like, I want to hear y'all's opinions and thoughts around kind of some of this. And I just,
All right, Ms. Vallow, before I impose sentence, if you choose, you may
this
address
one's
the
so blurry.
court. This is known as the right of allocution, which permits you to make a statement on your own behalf or present any information in mitigation of the punishment for the crimes you've committed. And let me inquire at this time, do you wish to address this court?
Allie, did you try to
All right,
change
very
the
well. You may
setting
make your
to make the
statement.
setting higher?
No, but I can try. It's on 720.
Okay, if that's probably the best.
That helps.
It's a little clear. Yeah, there you go. It's a little better. They weren't very zoomed in on her.
Which sucks. So was this court reporter from East Idaho News that was taking the photograph?
I'd like to start by
Was he like in the courtroom doing photographs as it happened, or was he just like in between people talking and that kind of thing?
I don't know.
Okay. Shay Benet, oh, okay. Crime Curious is Jesus in the house. Mine says, I saw that. Crime Curious, he's winking, and then Jen says, I didn't say that.
I never
or something. What does it
Yeah, I didn't see. What is it? I forgot already what it says. Hold on. I'll tell you guys in just a second. Hold on.
email?
Oh, wait, that's not the right one. Hold on.
He was in there.
I
Nate
never said
so.
that.
Okay. I never said that. Lori, that's the theme of this. But okay.
By quoting John from the New Testament in the
Oh,
Bible.
God.
In John chapter 8, verse 7, Jesus says, "He that is without sin among you, let him cast
Oh, I
first
know.
cast a stone
Parole.
at her."
All right,
Then
stop right there.
Verse 15,
Stop
Jesus
right
says,
there. Stop right there.
Okay.
There is a difference, Lori, between what you're talking about, what you're trying to use as an argument, but I'm pretty sure it's also in the Bible somewhere along the way that says, render under Caesar what is Caesar's, right? Meaning, we as human beings, we're not supposed to just like, we're not going to judge. We don't have any, we can't say what is going to happen to you when you meet your maker. We can't, that's what that verse is about, I believe. You know, not you're sitting in a courtroom found guilty of 18 different charges related to the murder of your 2 children and your new husband's wife. That's not what that verse is about, ma'am. Also, I would just like to take this opportunity to remind you the 10 Commandments are very clear. And thou shalt not commit murder, ma'am. Right there, at the very top, means it's a priority. That's when you should be paying attention to. Shut up. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I agree with you. Mrs. O says not nor John or Jesus are claiming you. And then who was it? Hold on. About the camera in the room, Nate, and I know Nate wasn't there filming this. This was through Judge Boyce's like Zoom or whatever, but they did have a photographer there to take professional like pictures of everything going on. So that's what I was talking about. Okay. Anything, Miss Curious, before I go?
No, ma'am. Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted.
No,
No, I
okay.
just I mean it's all manipulation. But she does present it well. I mean,
It's nicely packaged manipulation. Absolutely.
right.
It's not as word salad as Leticia's. You got to give Leticia credit because she comes with the straight fucked upness out the gate. I can't wait for Gannon to be home so everybody can apologize to me.
Yeah.
Right. That's just straight. That's the most throwed off, fucked off thing that you could say in that moment. If there was anything worse that could be said, I can't think of it. Leticia said just about the worst thing you could say. Lori tries to wrap it up and put it in a prettier package. Let's say they're the same person. Leticia just has a little more thug to her.
I do wonder if Lori's getting letters from people who want to follow her. I mean, there's a lot of really screwed up people in this world, and I bet you she does have a fan club.
Well, after you said that about you, like you got me thinking totally different about this now, because it does kind of show you how Melanie or other people, the other Melanie, like Jen said, people that, started to look up to her in Chad because she has a nice way of packaging things.
I'm not cult material. I would ask way too many questions, and then the questions would have follow-up questions. I would have been kicked out hour 1.
Definitely.
I would never have made the inner circle cut.
Yeah. Oh my God.
How dare you interrupt me, Lori?
I didn't even mean to hit it either.
No, not. I can't. She just makes me so angry. I'm sure she will have followers. Warren Jeff still has followers. He's still running the FLDS from prison. Make no mistake.
That's crazy. That is just crazy to me, and she probably will. It's scary to think about, but you're right. There's a lot of screwed up people out here. That's the facts. There's a lot of screwed up people on YouTube. I mean, out in the world, anywhere you go. So
yes, there's a lot of people running around unchecked and loose. You're correct. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I still can't get over you saying they're the same, but Leticia has more thug in her.
She does have more thug in her.
Yeah.
She's
she
rougher.
does. Ratchet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The flesh. I judge no man. And yet if I judge, my judgment is
Hey,
true.
Lori.
Jesus knows me. And Jesus understands me. I mourn with all of you who mourn my children and Tammy. Jesus Christ knows the truth of what happened here.
Look at Judge Boyce's face.
Jesus Christ knows that no one was
I was
murdered
wondering what
in
he was
this
thinking.
case. Accidental deaths happen. Suicides happen.
He's writing in
Fatal side
big,
effects from medications.
all caps letters. Life without parole, no accountability, and no remorse. This
Happen.
bitch is nuts. Also, side note.
Accidental.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. P.S. Fuck you, Lori.
Also, a shopping list for the liquor store.
That's what he's writing
Also,
down right there.
His face is like, is this bitch saying what the fuck I think she's saying? Is that coming out of this bitch's mouth?
I was wondering, what is he thinking right now? Like, can you, even everyone in the courtroom, I couldn't even believe she was speaking. Then when you hear her say, accidental deaths happen, suicides happen, whatever with medications happen. Lori,
Right, not in this case, though.
A medical examiner testified to what exactly happened to JJ, Tammy, even to Tylee as much as they could. That's not what happened to them.
Meanwhile, she's saying all of this. Look at how she's sitting. She got her feet crossed out in front of her like she's at a damn show. Girl. Lori.
Dolly said, listening to her statement, she is trying to say they were zombies murdered without saying it. I agree, Dolly. I think she still feels justified with what she's done, or I don't know. She's delusional.
She absolutely thinks when she gets to the part about the pancreatitis, the way that she speaks about Tylee was as if she were doing an act of kindness, like some throwed off Dr. Kevorkian shit. Okay. That's how she puts it. She's, good luck in prison, Lori. That's all I can say. Good luck. Ma'am.
Welcome, Dolly Q. Thank you for joining. Appreciate that. Did she medicate them? That's what it sounded like she said. Linda, I've wondered that myself just before we knew much like about Tylee, about JJ, what medications she could have given them or held from them, because JJ was on medications he hadn't gotten filled for months and months. But okay. Ready?
Yes.
Actually, let me take it back like 10 seconds. I want to start with her little accidental. There we go.
Yeah.
Accidental deaths happen. Suicides happen. Fatal side effects from medications happen. I have a different perspective in life because in 2002, when I was pregnant with Tylee, I died in the hospital while in labor with her. They tried to stop my labor. They put me on the table and they put something in my IV, and I felt my spirit falling to the floor. I was standing near my pregnant body, watching the doctors try to revive me, which took them a few minutes. In that time, my sister Stacy was standing to my left. I turned to hug her and was surprised that her spirit was as tangible as a physical body, because I knew I was in spirit and she was in spirit. She said she needed to show me some things, and we went to heaven. I later returned to my body. Because of this experience, I have access to heaven and the spirit world.
Thank you, Dolly.
Since then, I have had many communications from people now living in heaven, including my children, Tylee Ashlyn and Joshua Jackson, my sisters, Stacy and Lolly, my aunts and my uncles, and my grandparents. I have had many communications with Jesus Christ, the Savior of this world, and our heavenly parents. I've had many angelic visitors have come and communicated with me and even manifested themselves to me. Because of these communications, I know for a fact that my children are happy and busy in the spirit world.
Busy. Oh,
Because
Girl,
of my
bye. Lucifer was
communications
an
with
angel
my
too.
friend Tammy Dale, I know that
Yeah.
she is also very happy and extremely busy.
with my friend Tammy.
I have always mourned the loss of my loved ones, and I have lost many in this mortal world. However, I know them more than most people. I know where they are now and what they're.
Judge Boyce did a deep breath right there. He was like, "Oh dear, dear God," like you could just feel it, the tension come out of him. Welcome, Tamara. Thank you
How
for
come we've
joining.
never heard about Lori's near-death experience until today? Bitch, that's Demerol, okay? That is what they give you to chill you the fuck out when they're trying to stop your labor. Okay? Stop playing with these people. Maybe you got a little Dilaudid. I don't know. Maybe they gave you the good shit, which is Dilaudid. Hell, I don't know. Maybe they gave you the real good shit and gave you some Versed. That shit will make you think your soul left your body. Sure will. Dumb bitch. Ugh.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry,
And
y'all. Sorry.
the busy comment got to me. It got to a few people in the chat. I felt the same way. It's like, stop. You are just like, I don't know if this is mental illness in her head justifying what's happened. I don't know, but it's just feels so disrespectful and just so, but then again, you look at her and you think maybe she true. I wonder about her mental capacity as far as this stuff goes and stuff.
Okay, I used to watch this chick on she started out streaming on Facebook, but then she moved over to YouTube eventually. And she has actually been diagnosed as hyper religious or whatever that, I mean, there's a better technical term, but that's basically it, right? And she does talk about angel numbers and being on time with the universe and all of that. She will pull out the Bible. I mean, she also does mess, so there's that. But I think that's part of self-medicating, and it has less. She was this way before, anyway. But she does not. She's never hurt anybody, but herself, physically. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I just, I can't. I don't know. This is a sort of a deeper subject. Like some of the stuff that I've been looking into, like trying to understand how she can't, how they might have derived, how they picked parts of some doctrine and pieced it together and made their own sort of religious beliefs out of it. And it's so messed up.
Oh, it's so interesting, and it is messed up, especially because religious beliefs, that goes to the core of who you are, and it's just, I don't know, maybe it is manipulation what she's doing there. Team Psych Word said hyper-religiosity is a psychiatric disturbance in which a person experiences intense religious beliefs or episodes that interfere with normal functioning.
I think that I don't know if Lori has that or not. I'm not qualified to diagnose. I do think that she has some. I don't think she's that much different than the average human being in that all of us, I think this is part of the human experience. We all want to know why. Why are we here? Why did this happen and not this? Or why did some things happen to some people and not others? Like that's the human experience. We're always looking for the answer. I think for Lori, that's part of it. I think maybe she might have a little hyper religiosity. But I also think that she's incredibly selfish as well. I think she's just a bad person, period.
Well, they said she had those narcissistic tendencies and, or, parts of her personality.
Oh, yeah. She's all the way cluster bead. She's all the cluster bees, all of them.
I know this, that whenever, like, I have a loved one who experiences bipolar with delusions, and every year when like the weather gets nice again, she starts not taking her medicine, she gets delusional. And every time religion is a huge focus of it. And I also knew a man that had like schizophrenia, and religion was a huge focus of his too. There is an element of that with some of these mental illnesses. That's, I don't know, it's kind of interesting, but not an excuse. And she was found competent, so it is what it is.
Well, and
But
the truth of the matter is, if Lori didn't think there was anything, if she didn't think what she did was wrong, then why did she hide it?
yeah, yeah.
I was
I mean,
almost kind of
we're-
wondering. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, babe.
I was almost kind of wondering if, like, you know how earlier we were talking about how she didn't mention her brother at all. She didn't mention Alex. And I was wondering if that was her way of accidentally kind of taking credit for JJ and Tylee and Tammy. Because I've always thought that Alex unalived himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe she was talking about them because they're the ones that she has guilt for. Or maybe it's just because they were the ones in the case. Maybe I'm putting way too much into it. I don't know.
Could that be
I
who
just
she meant by the suicide comment?
Maybe.
I'm sorry, you cut out.
She said, is that who she was? She referring to Alex Cox when she was talking about the suicide comment?
Maybe.
I think
And
that's a
she just
distinct
didn't mention him by
possibility.
name.
But remember,
Good call.
she's also got to be careful because she's going to be on trial in soon in Arizona, and she's not. I'm shocked that she spoke, but I'm not actually shocked at what came out. This is
Right.
kind of what I expected from her. You know, me, I, everything happens to me. She just has a softer way of
Nobody
putting
knows.
it. I mean, exactly. Sarah Boone, my story. Nobody knows what happened but me. Shut up.
Yeah, and she did the same thing with Colby
Yes.
on the
So
phone
I
on their phone.
Hmm.
I forgot to look and I forgot to ask. Were Chad's attorneys present today?
I don't
I
know,
don't
and I
know.
haven't heard anything about that.
Me neither. I wonder though. I was going to ask you guys, and I'll ask you now before we finish this. What do you think is going through his mind today? What are they paying attention, and how is this going to impact his case and his trial?
I'm sure they're paying attention. I think my personal belief with Chad and Lori both is that they prepared in a way for this little eventuality, right? There's always a chance that you're going to get caught. You're going to, again, here we go with the martyrs. You know, they're often misunderstood and blah, 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 right? But they're the visionaries. But I think that Lori doesn't care and Chad doesn't care either, because they believe that they are intended to spend every single life from now until the end of time together. So what is this? This is just a little blip. This is just a little bump in the road to them. They don't care.
God, I think you're right, and that is so freaking scary. It's just crazy.
I also wonder if they will be able to communicate once all of the legal, once all the trials are done.
I doubt it, because I don't know, maybe, but what I think they'd have to do is go through a third party, because typically, like anybody who's on probation or whatever, they can't communicate with other felons, with other people that are in the system at that time. So I don't know though. That's a good question. Okay, let's play it some more because we're only a couple minutes in, and I got other things I want to show you.
Yeah, we're never going to be making it through if I don't get off the soapbox.
I know how wonderful heaven is, and
Stay on
I'm
the
homesick for it every single day.
We love your
I know we all lived in heaven before we were born on earth, and we were all adult spirits in the heavenly realm. We chose to come to earth as mortals. Heaven is more wonderful than you can possibly imagine. I do not fear death, but I look forward to it. I did not want to return to my body when I was out of it. Even though my son Colby, who I adored more than anything, was only 6 years old at the time, and I was about to give birth to this new baby girl that I wanted so badly. I was a young mother, and you would think I wouldn't want to
But
leave
you were
my
willing to
children, but
desert your kids. And not only that, the way that, that part stood out to me just really quickly. And then I think it's interesting. She says, with the little girl that I wanted so badly. I think
Yeah,
that's
when
her
she said she was, oh, sorry.
No, that's it. I'm done.
Oh, I
Just
just, when she said that she was looking forward to death, I had some really bad thoughts.
If you were looking forward to death, Lori, then why did you have your attorneys fight to take the death penalty off the table?
Right.
exactly.
You big dummy.
Idiot.
But as I stood in heaven, I did not want to go back. I thought they would be
Okay.
fine without me because I was peaceful and I was happy and I was home. But then I was told by Jesus
Welcome, Neat Noodle.
that I
Thank you
needed
for
to go
joining.
back and complete things that I had covenanted or promised to do before I was born. This caused me a lot of distress because I knew heaven was my real home and I only wanted to be there. I was free from pain, emotional and physical. But then I was shown how I would help my children and others in the future. So ultimately, I did agree to go back to my body. Tylee has visited me. She is happy and very busy. Tylee is free now from all the pains of her life. Tylee suffered horrible physical pain her whole life. I sat with Tylee in the hospital year after year after year while she screamed in pain when the morphine wasn't even enough to take away the pain of her pancreatitis. I sat there while she cried and I held back her hair while she threw up. And I am the only person on this earth who knows how much Tylee suffered in her life. She had pain every single day. She never felt good. Her body did not work right. And I don't know if that was from complications from me dying while she was being born or something else, but she had a very difficult life. She was sexually abused by her own biological father since she was 3 years old, and she was forced by family court to go visit him for 10 years against her will. I fought for her in court. I protected her. I tried to protect her with my whole life. I tried to protect her. I worried about her every single day. Tylee had to get her GED because she couldn't go to school every day because she never felt good. She felt sick. Nobody knows this because Tylee, like myself, tries to put on a good front, tries to be a happy person, tries to have hope in life, tries to know that she's here for a purpose and that she has an eternal purpose to be on this earth. But I never stopped worrying about her. One of the times that Tylee came to me as a spirit after she died, she commanded me, and she said to me, "Stop worrying, Mom. We are fine." She knows how I worry and how I miss her. The first time JJ visited me after he passed away, he put his arm around me and he said to me, "You didn't do anything wrong, Mom. I love you. And I know you loved me every minute of my life."
What a slap in the fucking face. Excuse my language, but she pisses me off. A slap in the face to Kay, to Larry, to Krisha, to JJ's biological dad, Todd. I mean, oh my God, to his biological mother. I cannot believe her, but I gotta know your thoughts. I was trying not to pause it, but right there, when she starts crying about loving JJ every moment of his life or every day of his life, what did you take away from her crying like that and that part?
I'm still stuck on Tylee coming to her and what she said Tylee told her, because all I can think of is how Tylee did come to her and say, "Mom, I'm not a zombie." You know, basically begging for her life. I mean, what about that, Lori?
Oh,
Uh,
God. That is so
yeah,
sad.
and I think that the tears, I mean, I just think it's all theatrics.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I mean,
Cause
I just,
go ahead.
I think that she's in a competition with Kay and Larry for who's gonna mourn JJ more. In her
Uh,
mind, if that makes sense. But
could totally make sense. Have a good night, Wicked West. See, I guess for a moment I wondered if it was real, and I think that I could see her doing the competition thing with Kay more than that, because yeah, she was always in the competition with Kay for the money, for I don't know. I just feel like, yeah. What do you think, Jen?
I mean, so many things. I think a lot of what Lori is up to is exactly what Crime Curious said. It's theatrics. It is disingenuous. I think that it is a slap in the face. I don't think that there's just, she just sucks, man. I don't even know what else to say. She's just a terrible, terrible, terrible human being who, even now, at the end of all of this part of it right now, this part, she cannot and will not take any sort of accountability. In fact, not only is she saying what she did wasn't wrong, as if that weren't bad enough, but that she should be celebrated for it. It's so, she's just disgusting. Ugh.
Yeah, you're right. She does kind of act like that. Like, I'm the one who spent every day with Tylee while she screamed because the morphine wasn't enough. Oh, you wonderful person, you.
Right,
Congratulations. You did what every other mother does when our kids are sick or something like that. Wow.
right, right. I will say this. My daughter has had to be in the hospital with her baby. We all know this story. We're not allowed to get into it. I've never heard her say anything like that, ever, ever. In fact, she's always saying, am I doing the right thing? I'm the one telling her what a strong mom she is. And this is why I think this is why I have additionally an added extra, just nothing for this woman. Nothing.
well, and I can't think of a single time that Lori has spoken about the kids where she wasn't saying something about them, but really just so that she could like underscore something about herself. Like it
Mm-hmm.
never seems like it's really about them at all. It always seems like if they're even mentioned, it's to say something about herself, if that makes sense.
Right. Right. Like, you don't know how hard I had it. Yes, I loved
Right.
my kids, but they were an incredible amount. Every child is an incredible amount of work. Sometimes they're just different types of work, but all children are work. All children
Yep.
require you to put yourself eighth or sometimes never for a while. That's just part of being a parent.
Right. And saying
Yep.
that she loved them, that doesn't mean that they're lovable. That means look at what I did. You know,
Right,
I loved
exactly.
them.
Exactly. As if loving, I don't, I get very irritated with people when they do what is expected of people, of just being a decent human being, and they want an accolade for it. I love my children. You're supposed to love your children. You don't get an award for loving your children. What the fuck is wrong with you? I fed my kids today. Good for you. Do you know how many other parents around the world fucking fed their their kids today? What the fuck is wrong with you? I don't understand people like this who want a pat on the head for every little thing that they do. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. You don't do the right thing because you think you're going to get praise for it. You fucking lunatic. Ugh, she just makes me so irritated.
Because it's the right thing, period.
Right.
But okay, I'm going to play the rest and run and pee while it plays, so I'll be right back. Okay?
Okay. Good luck running and peeing. I would sit down and pee if I were you, but whatever. What do I know? She's a little tension breaker.
After he passed away, he put his arm around me and he said to me, "You didn't do anything wrong, Mom. I love you. And I know you loved me every minute of my life." JJ, Joshua Jackson, was an adult spirit. And he was very, very tall when he put his arm around me. He is busy, he is engaged, he has jobs that he does there, and he is happy where he is. His life was short, but JJ's life was meaningful. JJ was a wonderful person and touched the lives of everyone, and I adored him every minute of his life. My eternal friend, Tammy Daybell, has visited me on several occasions. She came to bring me peace and comfort, and I know that she is extremely busy helping her family, especially her children and grandchildren. And I have a great love for Tammy. My beautiful children, Tylee Ashlyn and Joshua Jackson, rest safely this day in the arms of Jesus. My wonderful friend, Tammy Daybell, rests safely this day in the arms of Jesus. And I look forward to the day when we are all reunited and I too will rest with them in the arms of my Jesus.
Oh my God. I cannot believe the way you spoke about him. I just cannot believe that.
I cannot
believe that.
Hearing it a second time, though, now I'm thinking of something else that I had not that had been in the back of my brain this whole time, but now it's moved all the way to the front. Which, if you guys know me at all, with my 11 billion tabs that are always open, that's really saying something for it to have moved all the way to the front. It almost sounds like she's saying that there's some sort of blood atonement, and that is fucked up.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jen.
Can you explain that more? Because I don't know exactly what that means.
So, blood atonement is it's something that basically whatever that your soul or your sin is so great, so huge, that the only way for you to pay for your sins, right, is for you to die. That's what that means.
I mean, it's really not all that far-fetched considering, in context with the idea that she thinks she was doing everyone a favor.
Yeah, I think that this whole zombie thing, the whole zombie thing, I think is actually sort of a different, it's just a different way of saying exactly what I just said.
And I don't know if Lori ever met Tammy in person. I don't think that she did, but I don't know that for sure.
I don't think so either. And Patricia, I just want to tell you I'm so sorry. And I hope you guys, I'll be thinking of you guys and hope that you can find some sort of peace. I am so sorry for your loss. I can't imagine how angry this must make you feel, right? Like going through a loss right now, a family member, I don't know. I'm so sorry. I know that this stuff is tough
I'm
on everybody. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Also, Patricia, I'm very sorry to hear. I'm sorry.
Okay, so these are some of the victim impact statements. I haven't seen this yet, but I wanted to grab it and watch it with you guys because I think the uncle that looks like Alex Cox, he's on the thumbnail. So I think he spoke on this. Now, doesn't he have a podcast now with Adam Cox?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He does. Yes. I just want to say something really quick before I forget, because I saw this comment. Let me see who is it. It's Melissa Strange. Everyone was like, I don't want to be busy in heaven. You should be resting. I found that to be interesting because she's saying that right now, Tammy and JJ and Tylee, very, very busy bees up in heaven, right? But when she gets there, they're all going to be resting together. Like, fuck off, Lori. And you guys, I think the term, because I saw this earlier when the stream just started, I don't think she means engaged like to be married. That I think she means engaged like involved in activities, or because he's very, very busy. I think that's the term I think that's what she meant by the word engaged, not betrothed.
Yeah.
It makes me mad. I'm trying to get to Michigan for my granddaughter's funeral. I still don't understand why someone could kill their kids. I'm so sorry, Shauna.
I'm so sorry, Shauna.
Yeah.
Okay, let's watch what he said. There's so many people that are going through like such incredible loss of like people that want. I don't know. It makes you just even more angry at Lori for what she's done, and so many people that would love to be parents, right? Another part of that is that would have done anything to have JJ and take care of a little boy and give him the world. Hell, Kay and Larry would have done anything to have JJ with them. So
Kay said, if it was about the money, Lori, I would have given you the money. You just give me JJ and Tylee. That was in her victim impact statement.
Yep, you're right. I heard that too. I would have given you the money. Like if you would have just asked.
Right. And then you could have, done. And let me just ask you, this is something that I'm really, I almost want to write Lori, because I have just this burning question. If your job, Lori, was to collect the 144,000 minus 2, obviously you and Chad, right? The rest of everybody else. How is it? Why did you keep everything such a secret? I mean, how did you think that you were really going to go about? Do you understand how many 144,000 people is? Like, you're going to get what, 2 billion applicants, and you could only select 144,000. And what were you doing? Like, I mean, I just don't understand it. What you're keeping this all to yourself, I've never seen it. It's the weirdest fucking recruitment video ever.
I've always
I can't
been
stand
curious
her.
about the finances of like they're preparing a people group. I've always been real curious about the finances behind all of it.
There
were
is
there
a YouTuber.
tidings?
Yeah.
There's a YouTuber who like went undercover, sort of how Jen was talking about, and went into the.
That was between us.
They had a different one that went into, and it wasn't she remember the website thing that was kind of tied to this in the beginning. What was it called? A Vow or something.
Oh yeah.
There was.
Yes. Yeah. The blog about. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she went undercover in there and was like, her name is Noor Jasmine, and she has some really interesting videos on that subject. If anybody wants to go deep like that and look, you guys should check them out. It's her name is spelled Nor Jasmine, I think, but yeah, she's really great. She does a really good job. Noor. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I knew it was something weird, and I was getting it wrong when I said it. Actually, I was like, I don't know if that's right. in my
Yeah,
head.
she does a
Hey,
good
Mondo.
job of presenting it. And there's just something about somebody in a literal tinfoil hat explaining things logically that
Yes.
just, it's helpful.
Yeah. She does, and she's funny and she's cute. Her little intro is cute, but also she goes really deep, and she's very respectful. Like, we have so many of these YouTubers out here. Nonsense is one that I love to watch, and she's been doing like this deep dive showing this true crime creator who basically uses Jesus to in their content, and ask for super chats. So many super chats. We have a super chat goal, and just very exploitative stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just nice to see somebody who doesn't do that, and she doesn't. She's very respectful.
I always find
Yeah,
that
the name.
dichotomy of religion and money interesting, because
Yeah.
I don't ascribe to a specific religion. I would say that I'm more spiritual. I just basically believe in being a good person, and trying to help where you can, when you can, right? Maybe leave your little corner of the world better than how you got it. That's kind of my philosophy. But
Well,
even
my
when I was,
philosophy is. Oh,
yes,
sorry.
I do know yours.
Do no harm, but take no shit.
Correct. But I've always thought it was interesting, because I do remember, I mean, I was raised Catholic. I was raised Roman Catholic. And I did go to catechism classes and stuff like that, and, church, mass. So I do remember one of the things that they taught in catechism was about how Jesus really, who he actually ministered to. And it wasn't like the rich. It was the average everyday person, people who were or even really impoverished people. He didn't really, according to the way that I was taught, he didn't really celebrate money. So I've always found it interesting that part of this preparing of people is about the amount of preparing, which costs money, that you're able to do. I've always thought that was such a weird dichotomy.
Yeah, I don't like the money. No, it's just money makes everything dirty, right? When there's a way to make money, it's going to bring the bad people out. Even if there's a lot of good people with good intentions, the bad people are going to follow. That's just the truth.
The
Jane
love
the
of
Ripper,
money is the root of all evil.
says she thinks Alex was murdered, and we've talked about this a lot. I wonder if he didn't take his own life out as part of a plan, as being so devoted to his sister. That's kind of where I'm at right now with that. But Alex is her brother, KPM. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna play this. You guys ready?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
It's a lot more emotional than I expected, but when Lori gave her statement, it was just infuriating.
Yeah, we're done.
Ooh, okay. So that is the uncle that looks like Alex Cox, by the way.
We are done with Lori. She is no more to us.
It's time to heal. It's time to get past this.
On May 12th, the jury returned.
Lori Vallow Daybell will spend the rest of her life in prison. Minutes after a judge gave her 5 consecutive life sentences inside the Fremont County Courthouse, family members of
Oh shit! I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry.
After
in the case from Fremont,
conspiring to kill
I'm just
2 of her
checking
kids,
what else on
JJ
it.
and Tylee. They also found her guilty of conspiring to murder her now husband's late wife, Tammy Daybell. And there were, of course, 3 counts of grand theft added on to that. Morgan Romero watched the entire sentencing hearing this morning. So, Morgan, the question is, you heard some of the emotional level there. What stood out to you watching that this morning?
you talk about the emotion. It was exactly that, just a level of anguish and sorrow from everyone who spoke today, Brian, including the lead prosecutor in the case from Fremont County, as well as the judge. We heard a lengthy statement from him.
Okay, I don't want to play all this. I just want to play some of what they said. So here, let me skip ahead to this real quick, because then I have also what Larry said on a different thing. Tammy's aunt,
Hoban, this is her here outside the courthouse later, was also able to share how this whole situation impacted her and her family. They talked about Tammy's story, how special she was, how much they loved and cherished her. Lori's only living child, Colby Ryan, was not at the courthouse today. Instead, he asked prosecutor Rob Wood to read his letter. Kay Woodcock, who you see here, JJ's grandma, shared a gut-wrenching victim impact statement with the court. Our Alexandra Duggan was inside the courtroom and said there was not a dry eye there. She talked about the adversity that JJ overcame during his life. He was born premature and then struggled with special needs all throughout his life. She called Lori a, quote, money-hungry, power-hungry monster. That word monster repeated multiple times today. And she said she and her husband Larry felt powerless before and after JJ's death, but today, Kay said she took her power back. Judge Boyce.
Well, they didn't let us see any of what they were saying, so let me grab my other link. That is frustrating. Sorry about that. Let's see. Like I said, I haven't watched it yet. I just seen on the front. I bet you they do have it somewhere, but I'm not going to mess around and find it right now because I have Larry's already pulled up from Twitter, like a couple little clips from it. So we'll watch that. Let's see. I haven't seen this either yet.
Hard 4 years. I think that
Whew, the quality.
we all knew the evidence was there. But if you think that I didn't worry, if you think that our family didn't worry until the moment Judge Boyd said basically 3 consecutive life sentences, you're wrong.
Sorry, the quality. I should have loaded it first, but
I was shaking. I was shaking, literally, physically shaking inside.
You guys. Hold on a second. Did you guys get to see all the people outside of the courthouse?
I looked early. Like before everything started. It's like this morning. You
No,
mean?
after.
No,
Yeah, then
I
they
didn't.
came out
I didn't see after.
Oh, okay.
I didn't either.
Well, dang it. I wanted to load then. Did you? I couldn't hear you. I'm curious.
I didn't know.
Okay.
My stomach feels like a Mack truck rolled over. And I can tell you right now, I just want to get back. It's been a long, hard 4 years. I think that we all.
Hold on. Let me switch over to this one really fast. And then also, I have something from another family member of Lori's. But
How simple would this have been if somebody would have just simply stood up and say, this is enough of this bullshit. This is enough. We're not talking about murdering people. We're not talking about people dying. We're not praying for people to die. That is sick. At this point in my life, I am mad. This was senseless. And if he gets the life, if he gets prison, that's fine. If he gets the death penalty, so be it. I'll be the one to turn the switch over. I'll be one to pull the bullet in his heart.
wow. This quality was much better. I wonder if she has any more. This is from Annie Elizabeth from Law and Crime. No, just that one. But dang, man, that's what I'm saying. If you don't watch that man and you can't feel like the emotion and the, gosh, you know, he just pulls it out of you. He really does.
Can you imagine being Kay and Larry and sitting in that courtroom when Melanie Gibb was on the stand, when what's her man's name now that I totally have just blocked it out. Warwick, John Warwick, isn't that his name?
Yeah, David Warwick.
David Warwick. David Warwick. When any of those people that were a part that saw the stuff that was going on, and you're listening to that testimony, right? And obviously, there is more to the story than what they're telling, but they're only going to answer what's being asked, and the prosecution is limited on what even they can ask, right? And you're listening to that, and particularly you, Melanie Gibb, because they did come to you, the cops did come to you, and you lied. And I don't really give a rat's fat kneecap if you're telling the truth now, or telling the story now, or you came clean now. You didn't then when it mattered. What you did was give them a head start. Who knows what if you would have spoken up right then, if it would have changed anything. Probably not for Tylee, but I think for JJ it would have. But we'll never know because you didn't. Can you imagine how infuriating that would be? I'm livid, and
And it's not your family. Yeah.
Exactly. And I wasn't the one, begging the police, hey, please go check on these kids. Something is not right.
Right. Well, and that's another thing that's always bothered me about this is with Lori, there were people, before she took the actions that she did that knew she was capable of murder, I mean, in other cases, you look back and you're like, oh, maybe I should have known. But with this one, it's like, oh, people definitely should have known. Like, people knew.
Right. Like, yeah, exactly. And they didn't come forward. Like, all right, I will cut the Melanies and everybody else some slack in the very, very beginning. But when they started bringing up Charles Vallow, and then all of a sudden, Charles Vallow just happens to get into an argument with Alex Cox, who, let's be honest, had what is tantamount to just a bump on the head. That is even a legitimate swing, okay, of a bat that he had on the back of his head, right? That's when your eyes should have been opened right then. And I would have told. And I'm not even a tattletale. I'm not a snitch. But when it comes to that kind of stuff, you bet your ass I'm telling. Because at that moment, all the things that they had been doing, all the praying, the casting, all the bullshit, right? Now somebody is dead. And it's not like it was a car accident. It wasn't a heart attack or anything like that. The people that are participating in the castings and all this, that, and the third were actually in the home when he died, and one of them pulled the trigger. Come on. That wasn't enough for you to say, whoa, no. What do? You pack your shit up and you move to Idaho shortly after. And if you're Melanie Gibb, you do a whole lot of lying and saying you weren't believing, but you sure did a whole lot of traveling out there to be with people you thought might be crazy or lying or wrong, whichever it is on whatever day you're testifying.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but Melanie Gibb knew for a fact, especially after what happened to Charles. Let's just say, Charles didn't open your eyes, right? What happened to him didn't open your eyes. Well, you damn sure know that when people start becoming zombies, they end up dead. Then you have Lori saying the kids have become zombies. That should have been a bright, big red ass flag. You know what I mean?
Huge red ass flag.
Right, but she also, I'm not defending Melanie in any way because there's no defense for that. But I have to wonder if she was, internally afraid to go against Lori because it was so easy to get your ass on that list and be dark, and now you're a zombie. And it's like, I also wonder, where would that have stopped? I mean, all those people that were on the list, I mean, they get rid of all of those people on the list, does it just stop there? I doubt it. I mean, who knows where they would have finally
You're
stopped? I
right.
mean,
I think you're right
Right.
about that. And even when Lori did start questioning Melanie, you can already hear some of that beginning to start, I feel like. But can we just talk for a second about why the hell, like the fact that the judge, Larry, is not JJ's biological grandfather? I'm reading Jamie's comment, but this is something that I want to talk about for a second. Did not let everyone do their impact statements. That is complete bullshit. Number one, we heard today JJ came home from the hospital with Larry and Kay. Larry did skin to skin with that baby every single day as a preemie, and that is so big when they're preemies. It's big with any newborn, right? But especially when they're preemie. He
Yes, it
had
is.
a huge bond with that baby, and then you have Krisha. That's her brother's child. You know what I mean? That is very close family. I am sorry, that is bullshit.
It is
That makes
bullshit.
any sense.
It is bullshit. It was only I've never seen anything like that. I know that every state has some kind of surely some type of regulation when it comes to giving victim impact statements. And I can understand the judge wanting, if the victim's advocate coordinator came to him and said, there's 800 people who want to give a victim impact statement. Okay. I understand that you need to pare the list down. I get that. Okay. But that's not what happened. And that's what I think so very, very infuriating. And to your point, Jen, about maybe Melanie Gibb was scared. I can see where you were coming from, but for that phone call, Lori,
right.
Melanie straight called Lori a Jezebel. She called her carnal, which is essentially tantamount to slut shaming.
Right.
And she was very
Right, but at that point, she was
confrontational.
already working with the police.
She could have been
Yeah.
working with the police at any point
Right.
if
Right.
she'd
I mean, I
wanted
feel like
to.
I feel like she would have continued to be a true believer as long as she was never on that list. And then, when she was working with the police and she did stand up to Lori, that never would have happened because she did believe that Lori had all this power. I mean, she was a true believer.
I don't think that she
I mean,
has
I have
stopped
to wonder.
believing that Lori has all this power. What I think
Right.
Melanie Gibb did, yes, I agree with you. I think what Melanie Gibb did was agree to work with the police to get herself out of trouble.
Right.
That's it. I do think there is, I do agree with you that I actually think that Melanie and all of them are still true believers. It's the way that they testified. They all have blanks in their memories at the exact same points.
Mm-hmm.
Convenient lapses, and I can't remember. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have had more respect if they would have pulled a Taylor Shabusiness and said, I don't do times.
Right. Well, and I was wondering today what Melanie Gibbs' reaction to Lori's bucket of shit speech was. How did that speech, I would have loved to have been able to watch Melanie Gibbs' face as she's listening to that speech. Because she was.
Of course she was.
I would love to see it too. Oh, she was definitely
was.
close to the TV watching.
I'm sure Melanie. Oh, sorry, Allie.
No, go ahead because I won't forget because it's on the screen.
Okay, I think Melanie is scared. I think Melanie is real worried that some charges might be coming down the pike for her.
I do too, and I think Chad's attorney wants to see that happen too. So
yes, Melanie, Chad's attorney is coming for you. Heads up, spoiler alert! If you weren't aware already, I know how you can be sometimes all forgetful and I don't know dates and gosh, gee, golly, wow, I don't know. Fuck off, you do know. Who's coming for you, ma'am?
Says that Larry was a loud voice for JJ, and I remember when the kids were found, Larry, like a couple of days later, going out to the site, because I watched this from the beginning, before they were found, months before. And I'll never forget when they were found. Then when Larry went out there and he was like, I had to see for myself where he was. I needed to be here. Like from even before then, when they were looking for him, they were a loud voice for JJ, but they were basically his biggest advocates, and thank God for them, because they didn't stop, and they still haven't stopped. So he damn sure should have been able to give a victim impact statement.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was integral in JJ's life, period. No matter how you shake it, no matter how she tries to justify it or twist it or turn it, Lori, I'm saying, through her attorneys, because I highly doubt in their job as basically her advocate, right? I doubt that they came up with this on their own. They did it through her. She requested it because listen, they're already taking a rash of shit just for defending her to begin with, right? And people were even more outraged. I watched that hearing. And when people were even just thinking that she wasn't going to be allowed to speak, that they were objecting to her speaking, people were outraged. Who would bring that on themselves intentionally, just as advocates? Because there isn't any good that stopping her from speaking there's no benefit to Lori.
Right.
For her not to give an impact statement. You know what I mean?
It's already said and done at that point.
Right. And if anything, Lori has always pretended that she was a victim of Larry and Kay. They were bullying her. They were harassing her. Kay stole that life insurance money from Lori, and if anything, them getting up there and saying negative things about her would just, in her mind, would just add to, that whole martyrdom, and victim mentality.
And then she's eternal friends, very good, very good friends in life, and then eternal friends now with Tammy.
Wonderful.
So but you didn't want Tammy's aunt speaking? You didn't want your very good friend's aunt to speak? See, that came from Lori. That didn't. Yes, her attorneys are the ones that did it, but they did it at her behest.
Yep, everything is her decision. Period.
Exactly.
David says you can see the same behaviors that Lori V demonstrated by watching the Nazis talking at Nuremberg trials, completely incapable of considering how they may have been wrong because of dogmatic belief. That is interesting, David. And then you guys, this interview, I don't want to play it all. I don't ever like to do that. I want you guys to go watch it, but I thought we could watch like just the very beginning, the first couple minutes, to get her reaction, and then I'll share the link, and then you guys can finish it. Do you want to check it out for a second? Because this is Lori's cousin who did an interview after the sentencing with Hidden True Crime.
Awesome. I want to watch.
Okay, yay. And
she's given a few interviews to Hidden True Crime that you guys should definitely check out. And she breaks down the family dynamic in the Cox household quite well, actually.
This is the one you were talking about before. I remember you talking about it. But Patricia put something interesting in the chat. Before this comment here, she's put, she believes Chad is in a way better position today after everything with Lori. And I think that's interesting from that perspective. What do you guys think about that? Do you think he's in a better position?
No. Because the case against Chad essentially is the same case against Lori. It'll be slightly different evidence. However, the most damning evidence against Chad, in my opinion, is the fact that JJ and Tylee's bodies were found on his property. His phone pings near the air. Him and Alex both ping. And then you have that text exchange between Chad and Tammy about the raccoon. So as far as him being found not guilty, I think, no, I think he will be absolutely found guilty. In fact, there's stronger evidence that against Chad than there is against Lori, up and until the hair came back as to who the hair belonged to. Then that's when it really. That's when I had all along suspected that Lori had a larger role in the deaths of her children than than we had known about, right? But then that hair coming back, that solidified it for me. So I don't know. I just know I don't think he's in a better position. I think he's going to be found guilty just like she is.
Yeah,
What
I
do you
agree.
think?
For me, it's the raccoons. For me, it's the
Okay.
raccoons. I mean, ever since the raccoons, I've just been like, yeah, fuck that guy.
I think that's a great point because there is no explaining that. Literally, the exact day you messaged Tammy and give an excuse of why there was a gunshot, possibly, potentially, why there would be a mess, potentially, why there is something freshly buried in the yard, why there's a fire. You know what I mean? You have, then not only that, the dude sits there as they're searching the house on the phone with Lori. They're searching the house, they're looking for the kids. Well, if I'm here, I'll talk to you. As soon as they get to that part in the yard and they find the first part of the kids, as soon as they get to that part of the yard and start digging, he takes off. And the cops have to chase him down, and he doesn't make it far at all, but they arrest him. So he obviously knew they were there and was trying to get away. And he had
Correct.
also made some kind of money like deposit that day or taking some money out or something like that. Like he was, or
Yeah,
around that
yeah,
time.
moved money around for his kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that Chad would have involved himself in anything that would bring about murder charges if he had not ended up with Lori. But that doesn't mean that he's not guilty. I mean, it's like, I put out a video on Saturday, and this guy was on trial because his high school sweetheart, 32 years later, convinced him that she was being, viciously attacked in all sorts of ways by her husband. And then he drove from Nashville to Texas and killed the
Mm-hmm.
woman's husband. Now that guy never would have been involved, in a homicide without the manipulation of that woman.
The woman.
But he did it. He drove 650 miles and murdered a man in cold blood. He did it. I mean, there's no.
Right.
I mean, in that way, he's more culpable than she is because she's not the one that pulled the trigger 7 times. Now he wouldn't have done it had she not manipulated him, but he pulled the trigger 7 times. And that's the same way I feel about Chad. Maybe none of this would have ever happened if he hadn't have been manipulated by Lori, but he did it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I think
not
they were the perfect storm together.
right. Right, but just because they were together, that doesn't mean he should have any leniency whatsoever in
No.
this
And the
life
law
or the
in
next
Idaho doesn't
144,000.
differentiate. Exactly. And the law in Idaho doesn't differentiate between the principal, the person who actually did the deed, and the person who was part of the conspiracy. And that's why Lori is
Right.
charged the way she is, and that's why Chad is charged the way he is. And frankly, I think a lot of people up until Lori's trial, and this is why Allie and I and Crime Curious go so hard at wait until the trial, if there's a trial, right?
Right,
Because
exactly.
so much information comes out. Most people were under the impression that Chad was doing all the manipulation, right? Chad is no bueno, and that everything changed for Lori when she met Chad. And we learned through the trial, frankly, that things were changing for Lori before she ever met Chad. Chad encouraged and supported that thinking. Same for Chad. Chad was changing before he met Lori, but Lori encouraged and supported the things that he was saying and doing in his thinking. They fed off of each other. And I
yeah,
think
but can you imagine? I did it
Go ahead.
again.
No, you're fine.
I was just gonna say, can you imagine the first time that Lori caught Chad telling another woman that they were married in a previous probation?
Oh, I'm sure it was not good. And I'm sure that is one of the reasons that Melanie was a little bit afraid, because I think that I think this explains the weird tension that exists between Lori and Melanie on that
Sweet Melanie.
on that damn podcast where they're interviewing Chad. It is
Right.
There is tension between Melanie and Lori. And yes, part of it is because Lori gave Melanie that awful haircut, right? That was an awful haircut. And I'm not saying the quality of the haircut was bad. It was just a bad haircut from Melanie's face. And then the bangs just never were right after that. But that's why, because he did tell other women that. And I think that I think that the killing of people in this situation was their, for lack of a better word, sacrifice to one another and proof that they loved each other. Right? I will take out Lori was in a different position as far as finances go, and just a different, her life was different from the way that Chad and Tammy's life were. Lori was was a little bit more carefree. She could host these little meetings and stuff like that, where money was very tight for Chad and Tammy, and they just had a different dynamic in their relationship. But make no mistake, and I think that's why Charles was first, because also Lori had a hitman in Alex that Chad did not have. She had somebody to do the dirty work. And so I think that's why Charles was first. And I think that is why Tammy was last, because I do think that up until the very end, I do think Chad resisted unaliving Tammy. If you want to know what I personally think, I think that he was wanting there to be some polygamy happening. I think he was wanting more than one wife. And I think that Lori was like, no. Because while we're gathering the 144,000 laws, like, still apply, and should anything happen to you, I wouldn't be entitled to anything. Tammy would get it. No. We're going to have to start all over again. I don't want to be the second wife. I want to be the first wife. That's what I think.
Oh, that is a crazy thought. I don't know. It's possible. Pretty interesting, though, and disgusting. But thank you, crazy mama. Thank you. Said Lori, burn in hell. Thank you. Yeah, you ain't going to be up in there with Jesus.
No, and I also think that's part of the reason that she refers to Tammy as her friend, as if Tammy stepped aside and her murder, which that's not the way that Lori views it. She just views it as, everything that had to happen in order for her and Chad, who were supposed to be together, to ultimately be together in every way, without anybody coming in, without anybody in their way. And basically, Tammy was that obstacle. And I think that's why she referred to her the way that she did, as if she had Tammy's blessing to be with Chad.
I just think, what a slap in the face. I cannot believe that she went there today. I cannot believe that. It is just so. Well, all right. You guys ready? I'll play a minute of this and we'll see. Okay?
Yep.
You there? Okay. I thought something happened to my sound for a minute. Joe Ryan was really first. She would have orchestrated Charles regardless. It was in her grand show to lure him in. Patterns. You're right, then, though. If you think about it, they did live totally different lifestyles. I think Chad and Tammy had the more like conservative, very careful with money, just making ends meet kind of family life, supper at 4, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And Lori, it was just a whole nother world for Chad.
Right. And the thing is that, oh, sorry, Jen.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so if you listen to Heather Daybell, who is Chad's sister-in-law, she's married to Chad's brother, and she's known the Daybell family since she was a kid because they started dating when she was a teenager. And she's familiar with their family dynamic. And if you look at the Daybell sons, Chad is the only one who was never financially successful. And what he said was he chose to live modestly. Because that's,
Right.
you know, it was more in line with Joseph Smith's teaching, is to live modestly, right? That's the excuse that he used for not wanting to, for basically not being successful. And so, yeah.
And I really have to wonder if Lori's, near-death experience came as a result of, Chad's talking about his his experience with dying, and because I don't think she talked about that before Chad.
Yes.
About how she, died on the table when she was having Tylee. But with Lori, I remember hearing her talk in one of those meetings that was recorded, and she was talking about how it was either this or, she kills Joe, right? Am I remembering that right?
Yes, she did.
You know what I'm talking about, yeah. And so in Lori's story, it always includes her being a victim. She's always the victim of somebody. And with Chad, I don't think that was the case. I mean, he talks about decisions he made and why he made those decisions and all that. But I don't remember. I mean, listen, I haven't read Chad's books, okay? But I don't remember him so much like blaming other people for things that have happened to him. But that's that's a major thing in Lori's story.
I think you're right. I think everything happens to Lori.
Right.
She doesn't have any control over anything ever. It's everybody is doing things to her. She is the perpetual victim in one way or another.
Mel says that story was brand new too. And you know what? I remember Melanie talking about how Chad was like special because he was closer to the veil, so they felt like they could trust what he said, and Lori could trust what he said. So wouldn't she at that point say Lori was also closer to the veil? If that was like the story.
Well, right. But also, remember when Lori's mom and sister came out and did that interview, right? And they basically were, sticking up for Lori at that time based on the information that they knew at that time, right? Don't you think that would be a story that they would relay? I can promise you right now that my mom, God rest her soul, tells the story of how I almost died, having my oldest son. She tells it all the time, or she did. I mean, obviously she doesn't tell it anymore, or if she does, I can't hear it. But she would tell people that story about my oldest son.
Me too.
So
yeah, it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
When that happens to you, it rocks your whole family's world. It's not something you're quiet about, and
it's scary. I was 18 years old, and I'll never forget saying to the doctor, Dr. England, I'll never forget saying to him, I've done what I need to do, save the baby. I've lived 18 years. Save the baby. Which,
Mine
of
was
course, they
like,
would never do.
I was not that coherent during mine. Like I was for a little bit, but once once they got my test back at the hospital and they put me on an ambulance to a university hospital, like I really don't remember hardly anything for a couple of days. I remember like waking up from the surgery and hurting really bad because they put me to sleep, and then like I didn't get to see Bentley for days. But yeah, it's so
It's
traumatic
scary.
that it's something that. Mm-hmm.
It's
very
scary.
scary. It changed it. It gave me PTSD. I'm serious about now because with mine it happened so fast. It was like I was fine one day and the next day they were like, "Oh my God! Like you're very sick. We got to get him out of you now. Like we can't wait." 7:00 at night, and yeah, and it just now like any little sickness that we get, I'm like, "Oh my! I don't know." It's like my anxiety feels like in just like a snap of the fingers, it could be very bad. So it's just scary.
Exactly. And it's a story that when that happens to you, it sticks with you, and I don't know how else to say this except for to say it marks your soul. You don't forget. I feel like we would have heard this story before.
Oh, definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
So many times.
Yes. Look, Amber says she also had emergency C-section. She got PTSD from it, male as well. That's crazy, but that's exactly Pussycat as well. I had blood transfusion afterwards. I didn't get to see Bentley for like a few days, and he was 8 weeks early. Thank God he was a big baby because he was like 4 pounds 9 ounces and 8 weeks early. So he was pretty, big, but yeah. Birth trauma is never
put to sleep. I was awake for my C-section. I just had a spinal block.
For me, it was my middle son. I had an emergency C-section, and it was in the year 2000, and he was like 7 weeks early. But so you know how people talk about how they compare having kidney stones to being in labor. Well, kidney stones is what threw me into labor. So like I said, he was 7 weeks early, and I had kidney stones, and they put in a stent. If you know what a stent is when you have kidney stones. Yes. And apparently when they were pulling that stent back out, they broke my water. And so it threw me into labor. And not only that, he was upside down. So here I've been going through kidney stones for days, and now I'm in labor. And then there were 3 nurses. I remember so well. There were 2 on my right and 1 on my left. And they were trying to physically turn him around, like from the outside of my stomach. And then they finally just said, you know what, we need to do an emergency C-section. But the pain of it all, I've never, oh my God. So to this day, my middle son will expect me to thank him because he says that he chose to let me live through his birth. He's a smartass. I love him so much. But on his birthday, he expects me to thank him.
Bless his heart.
I guess they didn't they put me to sleep because my platelets were low, like because I had preeclampsia, but I had HELP syndrome, so it lowers your platelets. So they were afraid of like any extra poking or sticking, which is why I bled out and needed the transfusion. Which Mikey said, like when I was on a ventilator and everything from after the surgery, like I was hours after it, but like later than I was supposed to be. And Bentley's dad said when I came back, like I was completely white. My lips were white. He's like, you could smell the artificial air like in my breath. It was scary because that was so fast from like normal to that. It's just, I don't know.
I'll never forget when I finally got, because I had to be in the recovery room for a while too. And then they put me in my own room. And I remember getting up out of the bed to go to the bathroom, and I saw myself in the mirror. And I shit you not, y'all, I looked like I'd aged to me. And I feel like that kind of, like I said, things like that, they leave a mark on you, and you remember it. And for her, I just feel like if not through her, that story would have come out somewhere from
Oh yeah,
somebody
she would have
else.
exploited the hell out of it.
Well, right. Or even just somebody saying, like Colby, for example, Mom,
Right.
you almost died having Tylee, and now and you killed her. Like you would, that is a normal. That would have been a normal reaction, right? I don't even like that word, an expected reaction, right? But
Right.
he didn't. He didn't, and I think that in the coming days, more and more people from Lori's
Yes.
side of the family are going to come out, and they're going to say whatever. I would love to know the validity of this story. I suspect it's low AF.
I can't
Yeah,
wait
I
to
agree.
hear, because I'm sure we will. And then Karen, I want to play this because my computer is going to die soon, but I'll
Okay.
jump on my phone if it does before I'm ready. But I was going to tell you guys real quick. So, Karen, and then Mel's comment too made me think of this, that like birth trauma never gets talked about. A long time ago, I wanted to start like some kind of nonprofit or something that goes around and puts, I'm telling you guys, that puts like information out about these things. Because when I got sick, I had no idea. It started with like excessive itching that I could not get rid of, to the point where I was like making myself bleed and it was still itching. And there's symptoms and signs that they don't tell you about. You know what I mean? You don't hear about this stuff. They don't talk about it at the doctor. Like, I don't know. I just think it somehow there needs to be more information given to women about this kind of stuff. But
right. And to not feel badly if their birth plan has to be changed. Like, I don't feel guilty because I had 4 C-sections. I don't feel that makes me less of a mother because my kids came out of a cut versus where, the way that nature intended. It doesn't. But there are moms, women who feel like, I've had other moms say to me, oh, well, you don't know what labor feels like. No, I don't. But let me ask you this. Do you know what it feels like to have to go to the bathroom when your abdominal muscles have been cut? You don't either.
Right.
So let's not compare, sister. All right. We both went through some shit. Okay. Why don't we just support each other?
Exactly. And this Mel, that would be awesome. Hey, Angie, and all of you guys that have been through that, you guys on panel. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are here. And I know that you're strong, because it's just a lot to go through. But okay, I'm going to play this for a minute.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. We're back again. Thank you to everyone that's staying with us today. You never know when we're going live and with who, and we've had continuous coverage here at the Lori Vallow Daybell trial in Rexburg, Idaho. We are here now with Megan Connor again, a friend of the program, someone who has been through a lot, because the woman sentenced today, Lori Vallow Daybell, is her cousin. It's her family. Rex, who I interviewed after the sentencing, is your uncle. This was heavy. And we heard Lori make a statement in court today, your cousin. You had a lot of heavy feelings after listening to this. You took the day off of work and you wrote something. You sent me a statement you wrote, and I said, well, do you want to read that? Will you read that for us? And so we are here to hear from you, Megan, and whatever it is you want to say and whatever it is you're feeling post sentencing of your cousin. Today, she received 3 consecutive life sentences, and that's not all, plus restitution, plus 10 years, plus more.
Yeah, first of all, I'm so grateful for that verdict. I'm grateful that the sentences are consecutive, and I'm grateful that it's without the possibility of parole. Because I think for me personally, and I know I know Rex said this on his podcast too, that there's a huge risk that she would reoffend if she was ever released. And I think that her statements today confirm that she is definitely still a believer in all of these crazy teachings, that she obviously is still, I liked the way Judge Boyce put it, that she went down a rabbit hole and she's still there. So I think that had a lot to do with the way that he sentenced her, because she obviously has no remorse and is obviously.
Okay, we have to pause for fair use anyways, but that's interesting because I had wondered if that played a part in the sentencing. I assumed that he probably would have already had, his mind made up. Do you guys think he had his mind made up by today?
I think he was pretty sure of what he was going to do, but if he had any doubt about it, Lori's little speech closed the door to the doubt. But I do think that for the most part, he had his mind kind of made up.
I think he had his mind made up, but I think that if she would have gotten up there and she would have begged for mercy or taken accountability or showed some sort of remorse or acknowledged her guilt or, any of those things, I feel like he would have been more lenient with her. I mean, look at all the decisions he made as the trial was going on. I mean, he was, I don't know. And the way that it was all set up today, and I know I said this earlier, but, I just felt like today was all set up for her protection and benefit. And I feel like had she done any of those things, he would have gone easier on her. I don't know. I mean, of course, I have no way of knowing that. I don't care for him much as a judge,
Me neither.
just because of everything that she's gotten away with already. So I feel like, why would it stop now? I mean, like maybe that's, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. Okay, let me play this because then I'm gonna have to jump on my phone to end it because it's about to die.
Obviously, still fully in this fantasy land. So I'm grateful for the verdicts.
I'm glad that you're grateful. Has it been a relief? Has it been any sense of closure?
Yeah, it's definitely a relief. It definitely is closure, because I think throughout this entire process, I mean, as I said yesterday, when the children were found, that was incredibly difficult, and I felt a lot of grief for a long time that I had to process through. And once I was able to sort of work through that, and talking with the mitigation specialist, I really explored a lot of feelings of compassion for Lori and for where she is and was, and for the things that she may have suffered in her childhood that led her to this. But I do have to say that after hearing her statement today, I mean, I'm a compassionate person by nature, and I'm very much an empathic person, and I always want to make room for the feelings of others and for the experience of others. But I'm also a human being, and I think any modicum of compassion that I had for her definitely went out the door when I heard her speak today.
Really?
That was the end of it. Yeah.
Wow, I think that's so interesting because to me, you would think people would feel sympathy for her because she's delusional. But at least her family, anyways.
I think that I think for her family, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I had something to say, but it's just gone. Must not be meant to say
Okay. If it comes back, let us know. You got anything to say before I press play? I'm curious.
No, not really. I mean, I was just kind of contemplating, okay, so she is clearly delusional. And does me being angry at her as she's saying all this crap today, knowing that she's delusional, and that's probably part of some mental illness, I guess I was just kind of checking myself, like, does that make me an asshole for being so angry with somebody who's so clearly delusional? And I guess my anger, I don't know. I guess it's kind of, it feels like I'm almost protecting myself from falling for it, because I have fallen for the bullshit of somebody who's a lot like her in a lot of ways, you know, in my life. And so when people that are that manipulative, I really guard myself and protect myself from those people. And so sometimes that looks like anger, you know? And so I don't know, I guess I was just checking myself, like, am I the asshole? Because I know that she's crazy, but I
No,
hate her.
that's how the same exact way I feel, actually. I know that she's crazy, but I hate her. And still, even if she does have mental illness, what she did is wrong. She needs to pay for it, and she needs, like, society needs protected from her. So, okay, I'm gonna play it for another second until it dies, and then I'll come back.
Wow. Do you want to read your statement, or how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I mean, if we can kind of read it at the end of when
Okay.
we're done talking with anything about
Okay,
everything, that
good.
would be
Yeah.
good. I kind of want to end with that.
Perfect. I like that. Okay. Do you, what was it about her statement where all empathy went out the window?
Well, I think that she is, and I know you said on one of your lives that you don't think that she's delusional, and I'll leave it up to Dr. John to sort of make that distinction, because I know it has a specific definition that may not actually fit here. But I think she's using this frame of mind to protect her from having to feel the emotions that one feels when you know that you're guilty of something.
And that was that.
Yeah, I really like the way that she said that. That really hit home for me.
Yeah, because
Hello.
Hey,
The computer died. So, but I did put the link in the chat so people can finish. I didn't want to play her statement anyways. I want, people to go over there and support the channel, and not, I don't like doing that, playing somebody's entire video anyways. But I do think it's interesting, and I think that makes sense that she might be staying in the delusion out of comfort, right? Because it keeps her protected from realizing you did this, it's all your fault, and because of you, your kids no longer get to experience life,
Right.
Like it's less of a deep-seated religious belief and more of a choice that she's making.
Like she wants to live in denial.
Right. Right.
But I think that there is an element of that, yes. But I also think that she's fervent in her belief. I don't think that I don't think that it is like she is delusional in the clinical way, right? I think she is more I don't know what it is that she has experienced that has made her think that this is true, that Chad can do these things, that this is God's plan. I always find, I meant to say this earlier and I forgot, but I have seen, we've all seen parents who've lost children, whether it is to an illness, to a disease, or by somebody else's hands, right? And one thing that I've noticed that is a common thread in that is in the very beginning, it actually rocks their faith.
Yeah.
They question everything, right? But then you have Lori, on the other hand, who's like, she's at peace with it, which is so odd to me, because which is why it tells me that she was more than likely an active participant in everything that was going on.
Right.
And that it isn't Chad Daybell who manipulated her. I think they were in it together. I think they were the ultimate cahooters. And I think that I was talking to my husband and telling him what she said. And the first thing out of his mouth is she trying to go for the insanity sympathy? And I was like, no, I don't think so. I think that what Lori said, she got up there in open court, as manipulative as she is, knowing that she's not, she's an intelligent person, and I know that her lawyers talked to her, right? And likely encouraged her to throw herself on the mercy of the court in some way, shape, or form, right? And she did the absolute antithesis of that. That was a choice. Because she just still believes.
I agree. And I also don't believe that she was doing that to seem insane. I think that she truly is delusional. Remember, after the trial, her uncle said that, or like right during the trial, maybe as soon as it ended, she spoke to her mother, and her mother said she's still in her delusions. You know, that's if she'll talk normal if it's surface level stuff, but if you try to talk to her about anything, you know, she's still saying the same thing she was saying on day one.
Yeah. Well, and it's possible too that it's less about what she believes and more about what she can make other people believe. You know, like she's not really thinking about what she believes, but the power that she gets out of making other people believe what she says.
When other people adopt her beliefs.
Right.
She's
right.
about
She doesn't necessarily have to believe it people. Right, exactly.
Yes,
and
gotcha.
and at first she doesn't necessarily even have to believe it herself. I mean, she might believe it, but it doesn't really have power until she's made other people believe it. And then that's her belief comes from her ability to make other people believe the shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes. I think she definitely
It has
gets a
been way too
half.
long since I smoked pot.
I think she definitely gets a high from other people believing her, and from being powerful, and from being, you know, her and Chad were number 1 and 2, right? Of the 144,000, they were at the top of the top. They were, I mean, Father Chad, hell, Melanie's text to him, that still disturbs the hell out of me. I cannot get over that. But
it's all disturbing. It's like she's one of those people. She just happened to use this in a very extreme way. But I understand what you're saying, Jen. What you're saying is Lori is one of those people who her pleasure is derived from fooling and convincing other people. It doesn't even matter what it is that she's actually fooling them about, or convincing them to do or to think or believe or whatever. That's not the point. It's the manipulation, the fooling, the convincing. Lori likes to get one over on people. And once she's got, that's why she does it. Because she enjoys getting one over on people. She's one of those people.
Pepper, well, I also wonder about how much, like, because Pepper says, and it's to y'all's point too, but that she knew that it was wrong or she wouldn't have had it. But don't you wonder, like, I wonder how much Chad influenced a lot of these beliefs, and how much he convinced her that, you know, just do this, just do that, it'll be okay. You know, these people might think that, but on this day, they thought the world was ended. You know what I mean? They were claiming, at least, that the world was going to end 2 years ago. So I do wonder about how much he influences these delusions. The thing is that they've They've had 2 meetings that have not been recorded. And did they have a phone call? I know they requested to have one. I can't remember if they did, but they have only spoken a couple times in the last few years, and she still fully believes. I mean, she's a model inmate. She probably sits there reading the Bible all day.
I think that there's probably, I mean, think about the stuff that they uncovered, right? There's probably, as far as conversations between the two of them, just between Chad and Lori. Those are just conversations that we know happened because they're either recorded or they're texts or they are emails. But you can tell in some of the in the texts and the emails that they are a continuation of a conversation that likely took place over the phone. And I have a very strong feeling that they talked about this specific thing happening, the potential for them to be caught, for them to be, particularly when it got really, the heat really got turned up and she was served in Hawaii. And they told her to produce the children. I have a feeling they discussed all of this. And I have, if you watch their attorneys, what you'll notice is the attorneys for each of them will only go to a certain point about blaming the other one. Right? Chad's attorneys only will blame Lori up into a certain point. Lori's attorneys will only blame Chad up into a certain point. And that is at the behest of their clients.
Right.
I think they're still cahooting even now. I think that they planned for this. I think this is for them in the scheme of things. In time, this is nothing but a second.
Pass, thank you so much. Pass said sharing good vibes, and then Alex is good people. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then Jen, it is interesting though, because Chad's attorney seems to go just a tad bit further than hers. Like, remember at one point he kind of insinuated that Alex and her had an inappropriate relationship, and he yeah, I wonder if Chad, at this point that she's already been found guilty, if the attorney, I mean, legally she's a murderer. She's a convicted murderer. So if he says in open court that she did this, I mean, she's already convicted. What do you guys, I don't know. I wonder if he's going to push it further now that this has happened with her.
Well, remember, there's only so far that he can go, because at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is Tylee and JJ were found on his property.
Yes.
And at a time when, and they were put there at a time when Tammy was still alive. So it would be, it does not help. It's not advantageous really to either one of them to fully point the finger at the other one, right? Because at the end of the day, I think what Chad's attorney is really doing is he's playing the hand that was dealt to him. Let's just break it down just exactly how it is. Chad is an unfortunate looking man. He's very plain. There's nothing really spectacular about him. He's not, compared to Charles, he is in the looks department, a downgrade, right? Then you have on top of it the fact that he's not an accomplished author. He can't even manage to use a Harry Potter reference correctly. That's never going to not bother me. I don't know why that's stuck. I know why that's stuck in my crawl, because it's annoying. But let's just be honest. And I think that's the hand that that he's been dealt, and the hand that he is going to play. That Chad was so shocked that a woman like Lori Vallow, who was a very pretty woman, a very attractive woman, outgoing, all of the things, right? That she hoodwinked him, that he was so taken by the fact that she wanted him that he lost all reasoning. That's the hand he's playing, I think, which is the only one, the one he's been dealt.
See, I don't think he'll do that though, because of what we were talking earlier, and he doesn't, he usually, he doesn't play the victim so much. What I see, and I don't mean to say, that you're wrong. I mean, we're all just thinking out loud.
I
anyway,
might be wrong. Who knows? I've been wrong before. I'll probably be wrong again.
I definitely think that Chad is going to take the stand, and I think that they're going to put him on the stand for the same reason that they put Darren Lopez on the stand, which is that case I was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Because he'll come across as pathetic, and at least when it comes to sentencing, and I don't know how Idaho does their sentencing, if it's if there's a penalty phase and all of that, but I guess I should, since Lori just went through it. Duh. Anyway, I think they'll definitely put Chad on the stand, but I feel like Alex is going to come up more than Lori, and I think it'll be inferred that Alex was acting at the behest of Lori, but I don't think he'll. I mean, I think they'll dance around it. Do you know what I mean?
Right, but I'm saying, as far as everything that we've heard, up to this point, all the preliminary hearings and stuff, and the things that his lawyer has said, and the questions that he's asked of witnesses, it is I agree with you. He only goes so far. But I think his lawyer's strategy is probably slightly different than Chad's. I think that if the lawyers ever were able to speak, which they can only do if Lori and Chad are no longer alive, that does absolve the attorney-client privilege, or they get permission. But I think if they were to speak, I think they would say that it's been a battle between them, because I think that the strategy would be, to sort of point the finger at the other one, but only up until a certain point, because that if you go too far, juries don't like that either, and then you're actually hurting your client, not helping. But I think that Chad and Lori
don't want to.
Exactly, and I think that they have talked about this. And I think that they realize that whatever is said in court, they're not going to hold against the other one, because I think they've talked about this. And I think they've said to each other, we are going to be together for an eternity. This is just but a blink of an eye in eternity time. Do you know what I'm saying?
I could totally see that. But the only thing that I do keep in mind is at one point, Pryor refused to call her Lori Daybell, and he was calling her Lori Vallow. Then remembered Lori was getting mad at her attorney, so that goes to your point a little bit, that the attorney's trying to put it. Lori got mad when he said that Chad's books were dumb, or I don't remember.
That's what it was.
Chad a loser.
Yeah, and a loser with dumb books or whatever, and she got pissed about it. But I really do wonder, there's part of me that thinks that they might push it a little further now, because technically she is a convicted murderer. Not because he has a little wiggle room there where he could say, I'm not blaming you to her, but you know what I mean? Technically you are, so we're just using it as how we can. I don't know.
I think you're right. I think there will be a little bit stronger of a push, not that much stronger though, just a tiny. I think we might see a little bit a little extra. But again, I don't think that Lori will hold it against Chad, because like I said, I think they've talked about this. I think that they are aware of their predicament.
Yeah, I think they have to. They definitely did. And probably I could see them doing it in Hawaii, like you said, around the time that police started, really picking up on them.
It's all an act.
Can they use what Lori said in court today in Chad's trial? I mean, it's not being used against her, but would it benefit him, and can they use it?
I would think so. But I don't know. You know what I was going to say too, when you said with the penalty phase with her, she didn't get the death penalty. With him, they're going after the death penalty. So it's going to be a little different.
You know what's interesting? I was seeing this in Difficult Researches chat is that a lot of the chat is pretty well convinced that they'll end up dropping the death penalty against Chad, that the judge has never presided over a death penalty case, and that eventually the death penalty will end up being taken off the table for Chad as well. Be interesting.
Wow.
But there were so many delays around that damn death penalty. I mean, it just, they could have done that so long ago.
I mean, they could have, who knows, but they might. I mean, look, they didn't take it off the table for Lori until almost the very last minute.
That's true.
So they might do the same thing with Chad. They might have him sweat it out, and likely, God, who knows? Who knows? I mean, it is what it. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. I'm curious though, because the bulk of the evidence that they used in Lori's is likely going to be used in Chad's, maybe but I'm sure there'll be new things. So I'm curious to know what the new stuff will be.
I mean,
in theory, could she be subpoenaed?
Oh, welcome, Dennis. Thank you for joining.
In theory, yes.
In theory, yeah.
In theory, yes.
What about where they're married?
So, oh, that's a good point. Let me think about that.
Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate that. I'm about to let you guys go in a minute. After
I
you
have to think about that one. That's a good question for Chris.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Should ask him.
I will.
I don't think wives can or have to testify, Amber said. I wonder,
Yeah, you cannot compel a wife to testify against their husband, which is what a subpoena would be, is compelling, making. But a wife can volunteer.
Okay. Pepper, it was always also very disgusting for her to mention people die for other reasons, like suicide. Oh, no, Pepper. All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys go.
We've been on here. Human she is.
Oh, sorry, Jen.
Sorry.
Yes.
No, it's me.
No, it's not you, but I'm just going to let you guys go because we've been on here for 2.5 hours, but it goes by so fast. It's interesting, and there's so much to talk about with you guys.
It would like go by that.
Yeah, no.
I could see Allie and I
talk about.
This is what Allie came to. I'm telling on you. Allie came to me and she's like, we could do an hour on my channel and then we could do an hour on your channel. And I said, no, because we never, first of all, if we try to limit ourselves to an hour, the conversation, because it's in the back of our head, never flows as well as when we're just like, we're going to go live together and whatever happens, happens. It's better that way. And see, here we are.
2.5 hours later, almost midnight. Thank you, Mel. Thank you guys for being here. And thank you guys for being here. I wonder what happened to Mel, because she was really excited. I hope she's all right. Yeah, I'll bring her next time or something. But it was good conversation. I guess we have to wait and see what happens. We have to wait and see what they say about Lori's incident, who comes out and tells the truth on that one.
Well, there's already been a juror who's come out and given an interview, and I'm curious what that juror has to say, so I'm going to be watching that too.
Okay. Well, I need to see that too, so send it to me when you watch it. Okay. All right, you guys, I'm going to let you all go. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys on panel for being here. I'll see you probably tomorrow. And I hope you have a good night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.